Yeah. Right, so day two, we obviously got the rods in yesterday. They've got off sufficiently to work on. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut the strings off. I'm going to get the ground pins out. And then I'm going to rake this soil about so we can get it all a nice flat level area. And then what I'm going to do then, I'm going to find the weed membrane and put the weed membrane over the top of it. And then we're going to proceed to start locking down the nuts and finding a level. So what I'll do, I'll get myself a rake, and a lot of the likes of this here, which I put to the side there so it wasn't in the way of the concrete barriers and that, I'm just going to rake all flat and get it all nice and level. I'll probably get that lot in the skip there, don't need that on here. But so that's what we're going to do now. I've raked it out. You can see there, it's pretty much level, Davey, yeah? It's pretty much level. I mean, I'm not using the laser, so what I've done, I've dropped the spirit level on. I'll talk about these in a second. I've dropped the spirit level on it, and I think that over there is my highest point. So that's where I'll start off with my nuts, and I'll quickly go around with them from that point there, and hopefully that will be my highest point. But it's a visual thing rather than using the laser, because like I said yesterday, and throughout this series, I'm going to do it with the bare essentials. So what's next then? If we leave that as it is, then you are going to get weed growth, even though it's going to be covered and there's going to be no sunlight. Obviously, the weeds grow, they search out the light, and they are going to grow under there, but then they'll find the end of the building. A lot of people don't bother putting this down, but we always do if we've got any kind of soft area like this rather than a hardscaped area. It's a weed suppressant membrane. This particular sheet is 4 meters by 10 meters, so should almost do this area. It's approximately 4 meters, but by the time you've pushed it down on some rods, it gets a bit short, so what we might have to do is overlap it. But what we're going to do on this, obviously we've got that side and that back there, that will be just that soil. So what we'll do, we'll bring the weed membrane directly up to the fence, and then we'll put some kind of gravel or aggregate down to tidy that up. So like I say, this roll here is it's 10 meters long and it's 4 meters wide. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stretch it out. And while I remember, a guy asked why we don't use a concrete base for these rooms. Right, so the reason why we don't use concrete base is we came up with this rod system some time ago now. It's quick. You've seen us yesterday. Granted, the holes were quite easy to dig, but we dug them out in an hour, concreted in 20 minutes. Obviously, there's other bits of work going on in between, but it's quick. We're ready to go today, and that's that. If it was a concrete base, so what we would have had to do, we would have either had to hand dig it out or get a machine in. There is no access there. You can see that, David, can you? So we wouldn't have got a machine in on this occasion. We'd have had to hand dig it out. We'd have had to hand dig down. We'd have had to bring hardcore in, got the hardcore in, we'd have had to whack that down, we'd have had to make some shuttering for the concrete pad. And then you've got two choices then. You can either insulate the pad or insulate on top of the pad. So obviously the height is an issue all the time. So we're digging out, we're putting stone in, we're whacking the stone down, we're removing all the soil as well. So there's more money in that as well. Then we're shuttering, we're pouring the concrete, we're waiting for the pad to go off, and then we're building. And then of course there's the height issues and the insulation issues as well. So that is why we don't use a concrete pad. And a concrete pad in this occasion would be great because it's a really level patch, but normally it's quite sloped. So these rods work for us. They work for us every single time apart from one which we just did at Christmas, and we used a different method where we had a 700mm fall on there. So that's that. And so let's talk about these. David, do you want to come over here? I have, as if you watched any of my videos, I've got no affiliation with anybody whatsoever. So what I've done, I bought a set of ox tools. I like ox tools, they're good quality. I bought these out of my own money. They haven't been given to us, haven't been sent to us to promote. I'm just trying to prove that you can do these with basic tools, but there's basic and there's basic. So you want a decent hammer. I prefer this framing hammer. You want a lump hammer as well, which we'll use as well for banging your boards in, and a few other little pieces that will come in handy as well. Tape measure's obviously a must, and a set of levels. I mean, you don't actually need a set of levels. A long level will do you on this job. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these tools on this job. I'm going to clean them up afterwards, or somebody will anyway. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to give them away. So what I need you to do, I need you to get on Instagram. I need you to follow me, to like it, to share it, and to tag people in it. You keep doing that for every single day video, and I'll pick one person who's done it regularly, and I'll post them off to them. So you'll have a set of hand tools there. Decent quality. I think they're about 250 quid's worth just sat there, and I'll send them out to you anywhere in the UK. So that's that. Right, Dave, if you want to pull back a little bit, what I'm going to do now, I know that my membrane's up there, so I'm going to make it too long for myself. I'm going to cut it. Stanley knife as well. You know, you definitely need a decent Stanley knife building one of these. What I'll do, at the end of the job, we'll take stock of every single tool we've used. We'll stretch them out on the lawn and we'll talk about all the tools we've used as well, just to have a bit of a recap. Right, so I know it's 4 metres by whatever I've cut it to now. So I'm going to look for the end. This membrane's a good quality membrane. There's another one, it's like, it's black and it's like almost like a lint sort of fibre thing. It's not as good a quality, and you've got the benefit of this one's got the lines on which can guide you as well. So I know I'm tucked up there and tucked up there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to find that line there, and I'm just going to get the rod and just wiggle it like that. Pop it down on there. Again, same line. And I know then that I should be sort of parallel really. Although I do know on this occasion, this fence is not square. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stretch it there a little bit. Like I say, if we're short, I'll just cut another little bit and stick it over. Won't be end of world. Right, so that's them down on there now. What you want to do now, rather than push that down, because you won't get your next ones up, is just keep it like that for the time being. Stretch that out like that. Davey, remind me in a minute that them coffees will go cold, so we'll just pause, yeah? I'm going to stretch them out like that. I mean, what you want to do is be careful and all. These rods, obviously they're not sharp, but if you fall on it, it's going to hurt you. You've now took your nuts off so that you can get the membrane over it. So now you're left with that rod sticking up in the air, which of course can cause you a nasty injury if you fall on it. Excuse me. So I've addressed the situation with the concrete pad, and also with the ground screws. They're expensive if you want to get them professionally fit, which of course we would, so that's why we don't use them either. So you can see there, look, even though it's 4 metres, I'm actually running short on there. In fact, it's too short. I'm just going to pull them off there. See if I can stretch it over. That's as good as I'm going to get there. So what I'll do, return them back on there. I'll cut another little piece just to go over there. What you want to avoid doing is pushing it down with your hands really, because I've done that, it's been tight, I pushed it down and my face has nearly gone full on into a rod. So stay away from doing that. So there we go. Obviously I have a little piece to infill back there, which hopefully Davey's showing you. But I've successfully got that to the back of the build. And what I can do then is get an aggregate, any kind of pebbles or 20mm slate or anything like that, and get that finished nice and tidy around the fence. And that's it. So just a little piece to put in there. We're going to have a coffee now. I'm going to get these nuts down. I'm going to show you the process of getting the nuts down. What I'll do now as well, this is the dirty part over now, so I'm going to wash my boots off so that we're not destroying this path. And then we'll crack on. Right, so what we've done, we know we've got quite a level plot, so we've wound down 2 nuts. The reason why we've got 2 nuts is because we want to lock them off against each other. So we've wound them down even. I've been round width level, had a quick little test, see where they are, and I found out that this one here is my highest point, which is still good, because what I want is, you see there, look, I'm actually maybe 20mm off the ground level there. Your 2.5 is taken from the highest piece of land adjacent to the building, which at this moment in time is that piece of land there. But we're going to assume that when he gets his patio, that will be levelled out, so that will be gone. And therefore, this will be the highest point of land on this corner here. So we want it as low as possible so we can get maximum internal head height. So, level. So this is a decent level. What length is this level, David? Any ideas? I think it's a 1.8, is it? No, that'd make me 6 foot, wouldn't it? Yeah, it is a 1.8 level. There you go. My maths is crap. It's a decent level. You want a decent level. So it comes in a set. Like I say, they haven't sent me it. I bought it myself and I'm going to give it to one of you guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to lock them off yet. Because if I find out I'm wrong round there, then I'll have to start again and just wind them up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, David, come over here. You see me level there, mate? Yeah. See how much it's out? Don't get a finger off it. So what I'll do is, I'll wind up that nut there. I've got my level resting on the nuts. You can see now, let me put my glasses on because one of you will go, that won't level. Can you see the level, Debbie, yeah? Right, so, just going to get that as near to centre as possible, which is there. Right, so now I can wind up that second nut there. What you want to do when you put this weed membrane in is proper pull it down round it, because you trap a little bit of that weed membrane in your nut and it's like getting PTF tape on it and it just makes it really hard. So there you go. I'm happy with that one now. So the reason why I've dropped to the shorter level there is because I'm going to hit the fence and I'm going to hit that mound of earth. So I'll ditch the short level now and I'll jump back on to the big level. So again, we can see that one's not level with that. So this is what I'm talking about when this system is millimetre perfect. You can see me bubble there, look, just, it's a cold morning, it's just condensating up a little bit. There we go. So I'll wind that second nut up now. If you can see there, look, David, look, that's, you see what you've done there, look? You see you've trapped the membrane. See? And it's created like a PTF tape, so what you've got to do is, see, I've just moved that nut there by mistake. So what you've got to do when you're winding your nuts down is proper pull that down, get that all out of the way. Right, so I'll just put that level back on there now. Right, it's good there. It's slightly high, in fact, isn't it? There we go. Millimetre perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do now is lock off that second nut there now. I won't use the spanner just yet now. Here's the important bit that you mustn't forget to do. That level is going that. This is a brand new level, so we shouldn't have an issue with it. But let's say the level's took a few bangs. It might be slightly out or anything like that. So what you want to do is rotate the level every single time you do a new nut. And when I rotate it, I mean spin it round like that. So if your level's out, like even a mil, every time you go along like that, 4 metres, you're going to drop down and drop down and drop down every time. But if it's out a mil and you rotate your level, you're going to rectify it every single time. So that's what you need to do. But like I say, it's a brand new level. One of you will be getting it. Right, well, just watch yourself with these. You don't want to hurt yourself here. So I'm going to get that round there like that. And what should happen then is when you get to your last nut, which will be adjacent to your first nut, that level should sit on them and be absolutely perfectly level, which means you've done your job. If it's slightly out, I won't even worry about it, do you know what I mean? But there you go. So what I'll do now, I'll keep rotating that level. Put on time lapse again. There's going to be a lot of time lapse just because it's boring otherwise. And I'm going to go around, all the way around. And again, I can span from there to there and go down the centre. But at any point then, when all them nuts are locked off, I should be able to literally go like that when they've been locked off successfully with each other and check it's level. And once I've gone around and checked it's all level, then I'll go around and I'll tighten the nuts up against each other. And that simply means is, what you want is you don't want your top nut to move, because that's your level nut, and then you just wind your other nut up to it and then give it a right good squeeze, and that'll lock the two nuts off together, which means when you put your steel shoe on, or your steel plate washer, which a lot of you are using, that when that goes on there like that, sits the timber in there, then your perimeter and your centre timbers will be all perfectly level, which is exactly what you want to start off your base, a nice level base. So I'll put on time lapse now. I'm going to go around, I'll get them all locked off, levelled, locked off, and then we'll talk about the steel shoes as well. Right, so we're coming towards the last one now. I've rotated the level all the way around. That there was my first, so this means this is my last. I've obviously gone down the middle as well and done that. So if you can see the bubble, David, look. I just want to reiterate how like perfect this is. So I'm literally winding the nut up there. Can you watch the bubble moving as it's going, Davey?
You can slightly, yeah.
Yeah, so that there, that's right. Or certainly within tolerances anyway. That's right. So what should happen now, when I rotate this level and pop the last nut onto the first nut, then that should be level. Which it is, or I mean, it's very, very fractionally to that side, but I'm more than happy with that. That's good enough for me, and it'll be a level base. That's exactly what you want. So what's going to happen now, I'm going to go around and lock all the nuts. Take care not to move the top nut. If you do move it, it's not going to move a lot. It might be 1/4 mil or something like that. We're going to lock all the nuts off, and then what we're going to do then, we're going to start cutting our 4x3s, and I'll explain the 4x3s, the shoes as well. I'll explain the 4x3s and the shoes and how we're going to drill them. We're going to use a circular saw, a chisel and a hammer to notch them out as well, and I'll explain all that in a second. What we're going to do, I've locked all the nuts off. We're now going to put the 4x3s. The 4x3s basically are a wall plate for a house, 100 mil by 75 mil. So that's your 4" by 3". That will then sit in the shoe. If I've got one, there we go. That will sit in the shoe like that. The rod will go up through the centre of there. So, minimum tools. Normally I get the chainsaw out at this moment in time. Circular saw. You need a circular saw if you're going to build one of these. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of hard work. I've invested in a new blade for this. So what I'm going to do, rather than cut it twice, because I'll have to cut it when it's in anyway, I'm just going to measure the front of my building, make it too long. Make it too long, and then I'm going to cut this to suit. So that I can manage it more easily, obviously because I'm on my own. I've set the saw rather to full depth. It's just a rough cut. I mean, you can hand saw it if you want, but you're going to get one of these circular saws. That's my advice to you before you start. Right, so I guess because this is sort of like a full-scale tutorial, I'm going to have to go down the road of full safety equipment, or as far as what I'm going to wear anyway. Glasses, hair defenders. So what's going to happen now, I'm obviously going to shout because I can't hear myself, and the sound will all go to hell. Right, so that's that cut. What I need to do now is, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, because I haven't brought a clamp, but we'll see how we go, because what I need to do now is sit this. Normally I'd start at the back, but because the sun's coming over the fence, Davey's catching the light there on the camera, so I'm starting at the front on this occasion. Right, so I'm looking at that timber there now. I'm sat on my nuts. I'm making sure my timber goes past my side elevation there because I want it to go past so that I can cut it off and we can fix it all together. So I'm holding one hand on it. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to, see down there, Davey? I've got the centre of the rod. I'm just going to mark that like that. And then, as a little tip, what you might want to do is just write a left or a right on one end of it, because by the time you swing it up and get it up on there and arse around with it, you might put it down wrong way and then be puzzled as to why it doesn't go on properly for you. Remember, this is a guide, it's how we do it. And anybody try to take me to court because things haven't worked out quite well for them. What I'm not going to do on this series, I'm not going to give you actual sizes, timber sizes of cuts and stuff like that, because obviously I'm here to make money. I do sell a bull pack with every single size in it, so if you want one of them, get on my website. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to find the centre of the timber, which I have done. Sliding square, again, essential bit of kit, combination square. Let me just see that there. So there's the centre of my timber. I'm going to go down and mark all these like that. So obviously we want this timber to sit centrally on them rods. So there we go, that's the centre. Right, that's that. What we need then as well is a drill. You need a drill. Buy a set, buy an impact driver, because you're going to need an impact driver as well. Drill and driver, or you can use a plug-in drill. But this is what we've got, obviously. It's quite a good quality one, to be fair, but you can get a decent set for $250. And again, it's an essential kit if you're going to make one of these. In here, we've got this DeWalt auger speed bit, which we've found to be quite good on this occasion. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill it through, just put my knee on it. Right, you can see it's quite a brutal drill bit, to be fair. Right, so there's my 25mm hole. Now, my issue with a 25mm hole is it's on an M24mm rod, so you've got a mil clearance. Now, John puts these rods in, he does a cracking job, and they're always dead plumb. I put them in yesterday, and they won't be as plumb as John's, but it doesn't matter that they're not that plumb. But what I'm going to do now to ease it going on, I'm going to exaggerate it, I'm going to send the drill in like that, and then like that, and then like that, and just wiggle the bottom of the hole there, just to make the hole a little bit bigger, so that it'll go on properly, go on easier rather. That's that one. What I'll do is I'll show you this full one going on, and hopefully it'll go on okay for us. Like I say, if you're going to build one of these, and a good toolkit's sort of essential, really, in life, So buy yourself a decent set. $250 will get you something half decent. There's always a load for sale on Marketplace, but the thing with Marketplace is, I'd imagine 50% of them have come out the back of some poor guy's van. So just be careful and don't encourage these people. Right, so there's my 4 holes drilled. Now, my next issue now is I want to sit them down, and I'm going to bolt them down as well. You don't actually need to bolt them down, but I want to bolt it down, make sure all secure, fix to the floor, fix to the concrete piles. Now, that's what I'm going to bolt it down with, the nut. So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set the depth of this circular saw and take the battery off, because I've got a nasty habit of putting my finger on the trigger. Right, so just going to set the depth there, put the nut on the base plate there. Right, so that there now will cut the depth of that nut. What I'm going to do now is get the speed square. Another piece of kit you will need, because I'm hopefully not going to use a mitre saw in this series. I'm just going to use the speed square and the circular saw for all my cuts. Right, so I'm going to have a go at this, and I'm going to tell you something in a minute as well. Get my nut. Right, so, excuse me, there's my nut. That's where I want to go. Now, Debbie, where's the spanners gone, mate? Spanners? Yeah. It's all right, gone. What I want to do then is compress the nut down. Like I say, I'm going to let all the tools out on the grass and show you everything we've used. Now, that's going to go in there like that. So I need a bit of clearance so that I can actually get the spanner in to tighten that nut down, which is approximately something like that. It's not a science, doesn't matter. Now, I know some guys have got a router out and trimmed it out lovely and neat, but it doesn't actually matter, because you'll see me use the chainsaw quite a few times to do this. Right, so here we go again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that speed square there, like so. And I'm going to keep moving it down. Right, so that's my notches there. Right, what I want to do now is get a chisel, if I've even got one. Right, I'm going to embarrass myself now. I have got a decent set of tools, but I don't know what's happened to them half the time. Right, so Rob Clevitt, if you're watching this, you might want to go make yourself a cup of tea or something like that, because I'm going to embarrass myself. They're the chisels of choice. Can you see them, David? I'll put them there so you can see the state of them. Right, that's actually what we've managed to bring today, so brilliant. Right, so what I'm going to do is get a hammer. Again, if you're watching this, you need to get on my Instagram because I'm going to give this kit away. Well, all the hand tools, the ox tools anyway. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just take them out of there like that. Flip it over. Okay, right, so that's there. Yeah, it does look rough, I appreciate that, but I'm going to show you something in a minute now, it doesn't actually matter. So that nut will go on there. When I compress that nut down, I don't know if you can see that properly. You see that, David? That nut will be below floor level, which is exactly what we want. Right, so that's that one done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fly down here. I'm going to cut the rest out. So you can use a speed square, get used to using it, because you're going to use a lot of cuts in the near future, or you can do it freehand. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. Right, so that's all them cut out. So here's another option as well. Forgotten your chisel. Can't find your chisel, you've lost your chisel, it's under the membrane or something. You've got your nice framing hammer with straight claw on it. A lot quicker job, hell of a lot rougher, but at the end of the day, it's not a piece of oak furniture going in your living room. It's going to be covered, it's going to be compressed, and it's absolutely fine. So what you want to do is roll it over, get these burrs off, because if you've got a big one and it sits on your shoe, like that one, say for instance, it will actually hold it up a mil or so. So that there now is my timber, which is ready to go on here. Now, I'm looking. So when you dig these holes yesterday, you've seen us dig them, and we used the ring on the grafter there as our depth gauge. We actually went a bit further till we met some good ground. So if you look at the rods there, they're all different heights, aren't they? Yeah, see that, David? They're all different heights. So what we need to do is look for our highest rod, and that will be the one that goes on our nut first. So it's either that one there or this one here in front of me. I'm going to gauge. Oh, right, what have I forgot, David? What have I forgot? Shoes. Right, let me tell you something about these shoes. Oh, let me tell you something else as well. I've never actually used the speed square for the purpose we've just used it for. Anyway, right, shoes. Steel shoes, they're a steel channel. We've cut them at 6 inches, 150 mil. They're 100 mil wide, they're 50 mil high, 5 mil on that thickness there, and 8 mil on there. There's a lot of strength in that shape. Now, you can use the washers, that's absolutely fine, but obviously I'm commercially building these, so we want a little bit more strength. Okay, so that's your shoe. Your shoe goes on there. Now, get them somewhere straight, they don't have to be perfect. Yep. So, when Jen first started, and I told her we made our own shoes, she actually thought we made our own shoes. If you're watching this, Jen, obviously you learnt, didn't you? So I'd like to congratulate her as well, because she passed her theory test for driving yesterday, so well done, Jen. Right, so we're going on this one or that one there. So what I'm going to try and do is get it on there, locate that one there, which is located lovely. That one's located lovely. That one's in already. That one's in already. Right, so what I'm going to do now, limited tools, have a sledgehammer or have a couple of guys jumping up and down on this till it went down. There we go, John. What do you think to that? Right, that is down. It's on them shoes. It is level. Right, so what I'll do then, I'll go around. I'm going to do the back. I'll do the back now. The back's exactly the same. And then I'm going to jump onto the sides. But what I'll do is I'm going to time lapse it, get back onto the side, show you how to do that. Time lapse it again, get back on the middle and show you how to do that. And then we'll go around, wind nuts off, and then we'll time lapse that as well because it's just going to be boring otherwise. And then we'll cut all the ends off, and that will be our base. But I'll show you everything. Right, so the back's on, the front's on. The side's a little bit different now. So what you want to do now is cut your timber slightly longer than what you need it, which I have done already. I'm going to look down there. I'm going to locate the centre of them nuts. Now, for those of you who are watching and are thinking, hold on, there's a nut really short there, a bolt really short there, rather. Why is it short? The thread was knackered on it, so we've had to cut that to get the nuts down. The thing is, if they get thrown in the van and then the threads sometimes get a little bit abused, the nut don't want to wind down, and then it can cause us an issue. So Davey's just going to film. I'm just going to locate all of them, get them centered. Again, drill 25mm speed bit in there, auger bit. It is a brute of a drill, this one. Like I say, if you've not invested in a lot of money in some decent tools, then it might take you a little bit more time. Keep clearing the hole out, go back in, clear it out. But this one, as you can see, will literally just push its way all the way through, no problem. Right. So, now you might be asking why I've not cut it to length already. So this is the easiest option, in my opinion, to actually cut these. Again, I have got two circular saws. Now I've got the choice of setting the depth of one to the 50 to the full and setting the depth of to a nut, but I do want to show you how one saw you can do it. It just takes a little bit more time. Yeah, and I'll get the straight clawed ox hammer. Lovely little hammer this. Well, when I say little, it's 28 ounce, but it's good weight, isn't it? Just chop them out, make sure there's no burr on bottom. For those of you that are watching and think, a lot of you messaged and went, oh, how long is it going to take you? Well, what you got to bear in mind is, I'm doing this on my own. We're also filming. We're also setting up the shot, and I'm trying to run a business, so it will take as long as it will take. I can assure you, it will still be the same quality as if the full team was here. Right, so they're all out. What I'm going to do now is not forget my shoes. I have put these on before and forgot the shoes, and that was a nightmare to get them off. Right, so they're on. That little one might be an issue to get it on, I don't know yet, we'll see. This is the highest one there, I think. Get that one on first. That second one's slid on anyway. That one's going on there like that. That one's going on there like that. And that one is on there. Right. Okay, so my timber's down, but obviously it won't go down far enough now. So what I normally do now is reach for The chainsaw. Davey, where's the saws? Right, so when I ordered the materials for this job, I ordered 2 packs of saws. They've only sent one, which is a bit annoying, but the reason why I've ordered 2 packs is because they don't last long, and I'm going to use a lot of hand saw and stuff like that. So, right, so I want it to drop down. Normally I'd get the chainsaw and I'd whip that off, whip the other end off, and it'd drop down lovely. But what I'm going to do, look, David, jump in there. And you see I'm using the side of that to guide the saw there. You can get a combination square out if you want, but there's absolutely no point. That's already started to drop down by itself. I'll do the same over here now. I'll use the side of that timber there as the gauge. Like I say, don't watch this, Rob Clevitt, because you'll only be thinking down on me. Right, there we go. So that one's off as well. I'm just going to kick them shoes into place. Right, so that one is it. Right, that, excuse me, that's down. Right, so again, I'll be getting the chainsaw out, but I haven't got it. So what I'm going to do now is just move that membrane out of the bloody way. Use that there as the guide for me. Again, combination square if you want to be anal about it, but there's absolutely no purpose to it at all getting it dead square, because what's going to happen is we're going to put our 22mm flooring over that and it's all going to be covered, and you'll never ever see that again if you build it right, as long as you live. Right, so that's off there. I've got this one to do as well. Like I say, somebody's going to get these levels and these basic hand tools. A good little kit for anybody. You just need to like and share on my Instagram. Awkward Garden Rooms are easy to find. If you're watching this on YouTube and you don't do Instagram, well, maybe now's is the time. Some good stuff on there. Right, so that's that off there as well. So you can see the perimeter of the building starting to come into play now. What we're going to do before I wind them nuts down is get some 250mm screws. I'm going to get these as flush as I can and drive the screws through there to tie that in together. So you've got them two there which are holding that together. That's absolutely perfect. And we'll nut them down. So I'm going to do the other side now, put it on time lapse again, and then I'm going to drop on the middle. The middle in all essence is exactly the same as putting the side on. Drill it, set it down on top, cut it, drop it down, screw it through. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to use an impact driver. Again, as I said before, limited tools, but this is essential. A drill, an impact driver, circular saw so far, and various hand tools, but I will document them all. We're going to put in these 250mm long screws. They're forged fast, they're from tool station, 250mm. And what we're going to do, we're going to tie both timbers together. Now, when you cut these, you want to be looking, if your rod's close to there, then you want to be cutting that one so that you're screwing through there, if that makes sense to you. Because what you don't want is, let's say it was cut there, we'll try to go through there and we're hitting that and we're going out the side and all that, carry on. Right, I haven't wound the nuts down yet because they're slightly stepped. So what we're going to do is just pull it up like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? And I'll tell you why. Because you're going to get variations in this anyway. It's a wall plate, it's rough sawn, which exactly as it says on the tin, it is rough sawn. So what I'm going to do is just hold that up. Right, you see that's tied that together nicely now. I'm not bothered that they're not fully sunk. It doesn't matter because the OSB is going to fly over that anyway. There's a slight little step in that. Again, it doesn't matter. It's just a twist in the timber. Excuse me. But you don't wind your nuts down until you've done that. Simply because if you wind that nut down, there's a slight variation in timber. You're not going to get it right. So what you need to do is also make sure your rod is nice and clean before you wind your nut down, because them little bits of wood will get trapped in the thread and make life hard for you. Just looking around for the spanner, David, can you see it? Have I had it out? And once that's down then, tell me where it is, I'll go get it. Right, so I'm just pass me the speed square off there as well, David, that black one. Cheers, pal. Right, so what I'm trying to do is make sure that that nut is level or below, which obviously it's not there at the moment. So again, I'll document these. We managed to come across this big ring spanner, but you don't actually need a ring spanner. Adjustable spanner will do you fine. So I'm going to compress that down like that. See there. So that's clear of that. It's clear both sides, so that's good. What I'll do then, I'll go around. I'll put the tech screws in all the corners and in the middle one as well. I'll go around, tighten all the nuts down, and then we're going to cut these rods off as well and get rid of them. For all those that you're going to say that you need a washer on there, well, you don't actually need a washer because you don't actually have to fix it to the ground. If you look at all these companies that are using ground screws and the likes of that, or even grids, gravel grids, they just sit in the building on them, so not actually having to fix it down. I just am for over-engineering purposes, so it doesn't actually need a washer. It's served no purpose whatsoever in this build. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go around. I've screwed that. I'm going to screw 2 through there, 2 through there, 2 through there, 2 through the side and 2 through that corner. I'll then get all the nuts down and then we'll grind the nuts off as well, and we'll talk about grinding as well. Right, so we've I need to stop saying that, don't I? Right, so then what we're going to do, I've wound down the nuts. I'm happy with them. The timber's all compressed out of the shoe, so we've got a nice level base there to start off with. Of course, with the base being perfectly level, which it is, it will help when we start doing our walls, and I'll explain that when we do our walls. You're not going to actually need the use of your level very much at all, because you've got your base in level. Right, so what we need to do, we need to cut these rods off now, because they're obviously sticking up and they're in the way. So a couple of people suggested, why don't you embed them in the wall and bolt the wall down, but that's far too much work, and absolutely not necessary either. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to cut them off. I'm going to use a 9-inch grinder. Again, the grinder is an essential part if you're going to do this. You can go around with a hacksaw if you want. Good luck with that. That'll take you some time. But you are actually going to have to cut your steel as well, unless you get your steel cut. So that's going to go over your doors from your steel supplier. So 9-inch grinder, I see them on Facebook all the time at Marketplace, 20, 30 quid. Buy it, use it, get rid of it if you don't want it after that. We're using 9-inch cutting blade. It's a 9-inch grinder, of course. It's a 9-inch cutting blade, just cutting metal. The key from the grinder is it is extremely dangerous. Because I know if you watch a lot of my videos, I'm a bit lapsed with my own health and PPE kind of thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down the road properly. We're going to wear ear defenders and we're going to wear glasses. Now, like I said with the grinder, it's dangerous. I see a lot of scary pictures where it's broke off, it's gone in people's faces. You only get one set of eyes, so you need to look after them. What we're going to do with the grinder, we're going to send it through at an angle like that, and we're going to work our way around it, because what we don't want is a piece of rod sticking up which will hold the floor off. So eye protection, a must. Ear defenders, also a must. Right, so there you go. There's your rod. Be careful when you pick that up. That will be hot. Obviously, there's wastage on them. Right, so let me address a couple of things. A couple of people have said, you need an impact driver to wind that down. Well, the socket's only so big. You'd have to cut it twice. We've had a longer socket made. It's not quite perfect yet, but we're still on with that. You can see there, I've cut into the nut. That doesn't actually matter at all. So what's going to happen now is that floor will sit over that, and that will be gone forever as well. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put on time lapse again, because this is all about one person doing this job on their own. And Davey is here, but he's filming a lot. Granted, he's going to put some stuff in the skip and clear up and stuff, but I'm going to do the vast majority of the work by myself. So I'm going to go around and grind all them off, and then we're ready to start putting the joists in. Yeah. Right, so we've got the perimeter in. The perimeter is a 4x3. It's been treated in a tank. The treatment is right through to the centre. This is a decking joist. It's 4x2 decking joist again, rough sawn. It's true 100mm finish. So our insulation will sit in there nicely. I know some of you are struggling, you're getting 90mm, but I do believe you can buy 90mm PIR insulation as well. So same difference, you're not going to lose much of it. Right, so this has fallen in such a way, that, would you believe it, that's a bit of a twat on the first one. So what we're doing, right, insulation comes at 2.4. So 400 obviously goes into 2.4. So we want to maximise the amount of insulation because of the cost of it. It's really expensive. Right, so our first bay is 400, but it's 400 spacing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark 400 there. Just see that, Davey? I mark 400, yeah? And I'm going to put a cross. The cross indicates where the timber will go. And I'm going to go to this side here. I'm going to mark 400 again. You see it, Davey? Yeah. And then I'm going to put a cross there. So this one falls on the steel shoe, which it will do sometimes. If you've used the square plate washer, you're not going to have that issue. But obviously I need to use these for more strength. So it's going to fall on there. So if you are using that, I'll explain what we can do now. That one will sit in the joist hanger, lovely. This one wants notching out. So I'm now going to measure it. 1444. And what I'm going to do then, I'm going to mark it where it is, and I'm going to show you how to use this speed square now. I don't know if Davey can see properly there. Can you see, David? You can see good. Right, so let me try and do it here. The only problem when we do it here, it's going to trap when it goes down. Can you see, Davey? Yeah. Can you come there and see, so I can slide that way? Is that all right? Yeah. Right. So first of all, I'm going to set the depth of the circular saw because we want to cut all the way through. Now, I've explained this a few times to you. Take pencil out, Marcus, name and talk properly. What you want to do is set it so that it just goes through the timber. The reason being for that is if you've got your fingers under there for any reason whatsoever, you're going to cut your finger. It'll be a nasty cut, but you're not going to lose your finger. Yeah? So what you don't want is it set all the way down like that, because then you're going to cut your finger off. Okay? So I'm going to set that to depth for that. That's good. And then what I'm going to do then, I'm going to... Can you get in there, Davey, and see that at all? Can you see it from that angle there? Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so I know my blade is now going to cut that, so I'm going to slide my speed square up to that. Yeah, and then I'm going to lock the speed square, on there. And that cuts through. And there, look at that, I've not even set it to the right depth. All right, so I was never going to cut my fingers either. It's like 1/2 mil if that. Right, so that's my timber cut. It's square, so this is what's going to happen. We're not going to use the chop saw. Right, so one end is going to have a joist hanger. That's going to sit in there lovely. The other end's going to hit the shoe. Right, so what I need to do is, I know my saw is set at 50mm depth. That is 50mm. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark this like that. It's just a gauge. That's how much I'm going to take off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go like that through there. Like that through there. Like that through there. Right, so I'm going to get the claw of my hammer and take that off. Okay, so that is now notched out. So what will happen now is that will go in there like that. That will sit on top of that shoe as such. And because we won't be getting a joist hanger on there, we're going to send some 250 screws through there. And this end here, we'll have a joist hanger on it. Right, so what you want to do, because you're working on your own, is cut them slightly tight. And the reason for that is when you bray it in, it's a second hand then, in it? It's like a third hand rather. So it's almost like somebody's holding it for you. So bray it in, and then it will hold itself. Right, so joist hanger. That's your joist hanger. That's the bottom there, so the joist hanger needs to go on the bottom. Don't make the mistake of putting it on that end, and when you go put it in, then your notch is on the wrong end. Get over there, David, because the light's crap, isn't it? Is that better for you? Yeah. Okay, so you need to determine which way the joist hanger's going on. Yeah, so it's going on that way. We're happy with that. Right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put that there now. Right. I get loads of comments when about a PPN nailer. They're really expensive. The nails are really expensive still. And quite frankly, I can do it relatively quickly by hand. And this is all about little as tools possible and doing it on my own. Right, so hammer, joist hanger. See the joist hanger? See the notches there? Yeah? So that joist hanger needs to be flush like that. So it's actually stepped back on the top, if you can see that, Davey, yeah? But them lugs there are flush with that. So I'm just going to leave that there now. Slide that into a better position for myself. And then I'm going to drive the nail in there, one in there, so if you're enjoying watching these, then you're going to build one of these on your own. I've got build packs for sale. I'm going to keep plugging them simply because that's what it's about, isn't it? Trying to make a few bob. Build packs 13 different sizes, full instructions, very much like the video as well, but you can print it off paper form, and you have a full materials list which will save you no end of time. And at this moment in time, they're still £96. They may go up, I do not know. Right, so what's going to happen now? That's going to go in. I'm happy with that. I'm going to locate that somewhere roughly where I want it. I'm going to locate that there, and I'm going to tap it across. Get that one somewhere near where I want it as well. And then I'm going to just send it down to my line like that. Get that flush there like I have. Make sure it's coming up square. It's not, let's exaggerate it. Make sure it's not like that, yeah? So get it. You see now, because I've cut that tight, I don't let go of it. It's held, you know, it's in a good position. So I don't know if David wants to just jump to this side. It might be better for you, David, but keep low and the light won't destroy the film. Right, okay. I'm flush, look, I'm good, happy there. I will be giving away this full set of ox tools. They haven't sent me them. I bought them, ordered them from ITS the other day. Right, Jen came up with this. What we've been doing, we've been grinding that or using tin snips. It's all about the little tools as possible. But yeah, I've got a grind if you want to grind it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the claw. Just brock it with the claw there, look. Send it over. Right, it's important that that's flat. You see how I've brayed them down, look? Yeah, because we don't want that floor sticking up. If you put your level on this build afterwards and you think, oh, I'm slightly out there, you're slightly out because you've got nails sticking up. Stuff like that, but it's absolutely doesn't make any one bit of difference whatsoever to the end product. Just got a few nails, but you want to drive them home all the same. And yeah, I am using a framing hammer and holding it in the middle of the shaft, but it's how I like to swing it on this occasion. Right, so that's that. That's in. What I'm going to do now, look, is just send that over, right? And I'm literally just going to put one in that side, one in that side, and that there is that side done. I've only got one in there, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen when we cut the floor will stick proud of that shoe so the OSB can stick straight down. Right, David, get low down over there, mate, and we'll be able to see what's going on here. Right, so I can't put a joist hanger on this side. So what I'm going to do, get it down to where I want it, first of all. There's a little bit of a twist in this timber. Don't worry about it too much. It's just sometimes how it comes. Right, so that's good there. I'm going to get the 250 screws again. I'm going to send that one, see that knot there, look, that's going to cause me a problem. So I'm going to send that just above the shoe. You see how it's gone at an angle, look, 'cause it's hit that knot, Davey. So it's a good one to show you, this one, because it's going to cause me no end of problems. Let's try there. Right, the reason why I've got my hand there, because I'm forcing it over my hand, because that knot is driving it across. That's that one gone in nice. Try and get another one in there now. But what you're looking for is direction of screw and length of screw and timber to make sure that you actually got it in. It's a good fix. The reason why I've gone on the angle there, I'm just trying to avoid that knot. Okay, right, that is the first joist fixed. That's nice and solid. The 400 insulation will sit in there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to work my way down this floor. Again, put my tape like that. This is what I'm giving away as well, this ox tape. I'll give that away as well if I manage to look after it, see what's left after the job. Again, this has fallen like a right sod. Look at that one there, look. It's fallen on that shoe, so I'm going to do exactly the same as I did there, but reverse it round and work my way down. I'll put it on time lapse now because it's going to be boring. I'm going to get all the way down there, and then when we get over there, I'm going to drop back onto video and explain why we spaced them differently. Get maximum use out your insulation. If David comes over, he'll show you this one. This one here has landed on the shoe on both sides, and it's landed on the nut as well. So what I've done there, I've come at two different angles like that above each other to bypass the rod and get that fixed securely. Same on that side, but that's that one. Right, so we've got this bay to do as well now. We still want 400 spacings, but if we go 400 spacings from this side, what's going to happen is the shoe on this one is going to sit over there and there, which is going to cause us a problem because it's going to stick up too far. If we go 400 spacing from this side, the shoe's going to sit there, and also that is going to cause us a problem because it's too close to that. So what we're going to do, that end bay there is less than 400, that's fine, as long as we've got less than 400. So what we're going to do with this one here now is we're going to start off at 200. So unbelievably, it's fallen on a shoe again, making my life hard. So that bay will be 200, and then this bay will be 400, 400, 400. But this next one now will sit in the centre of there. The one after that will sit in the centre of there. Centre, 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 and probably a there, which will leave us a little rip down there. But that's absolutely fine. That's what we want. We want them to avoid each other so that we haven't got a double joist hanger sat on top of each other there, which is going to lift the floor up. So that's that baying. I'm going to drop this bay in now, and I think what we've decided is it's going to rain tomorrow. What time is it, Davey? It's 12 o'clock. So we're not going to insulate it, and the reason why we're not going to insulate it... No, we're not, are we, David? No, it's Friday as well. But it is going to rain, so we don't want the rain sat on it. Not for any other reason apart from that we'll have to clean it off on Monday and make sure it's dry before we put the floor down. But you can see there, the base, it's level, it's strong, it's not going nowhere. So I'm going to drop it back on time lapse, carry on with these, pop these across, and then we'll have a little talk about what we've used, tools and stuff like that, and how far we've got with this build today. Right, that's the base complete. When I say complete, it's still got to have its insulation in yet, but we're going to do that Monday now. It's Friday, so we're going to get ourselves off. Let's talk about what we've done. So we concreted the rods in yesterday. We came back this morning. We raked out the soil, levelled it the best we could. Then we wound our nuts down. We found the highest point, which we found was over there. And we levelled from there onwards using these levels. The 1800 one there and this shorter one as well. I'll just tell you what length that is. excuse me, it's a 1200. So that was enough with them 2 levels just to get it level. We then locked off the nuts. I'm going to run through the tools in a minute. We locked off the nuts. We cut our 4x3s. They're treated 4x3 wall plates. We drilled them, we cut them, we dropped them down, we screwed them with the 250 screws, and we then had our perimeter and our centre wall, our centre timber as well. What we did then, we got our 4x2 green treated, which is a decking joist. We cut them to length, we cut them with the speed square and the circular saw. We also notched them out. We put joist hangers on. We used twist nails to fix the joist hangers. Where we couldn't use a joist hanger, say for instance there, and there, we used 250 screws, which have gone through there, and they're absolutely solid. So that's your base system. I'm showing you how to do your rods. I'm showing you how to do your base. If David comes over here now and just has a quick little look at that bubble in that level. There you go. So anything is possible with just a few tools. Right, so if David stands back over there, no, stand there, David, sorry, mate. Just there. Right, let's talk about the tools we've used so far. Shovel, it's a spade actually. A spade, a grafter, a rake, and a post hole digger. That got us down, got us all as holes out. And then the guys came with the concrete. So that's what we've used so far for that. Then tools, levels, 2 levels, a hammer. We haven't used that small level yet, and we probably won't, so that'll probably stay in that kind of condition until I give it away. We've used a drill with a speed bit in it. They keep telling me to use spade bits, but I've used them to go blunt. This is far better. It's a 25mm DeWalt speed bit. We used it in this Milwaukee drill. Buy a kit. You normally get a kit together. A drill and an impactor, which should be sufficient. Which should be sufficient for what you need. Handsaw. We've used a handsaw as well. That's vital. You're going to want a few of them. We've used a 9-inch grinder with a metal cutting disc in it. We've used a combination square. It's an important little bit of kit, really. Where's my speed square, David? Can you see it?
Yeah, it's in front of you on black.
Yeah, so we use this black invisible speed square. That's a DeWalt one. I think it was about £17 or something like that. We used that as a guide. We locked onto the timber, and then we cut with the circular saw. Circular saw you will find important when you're building one of these. Watch your fingers with it, don't lose them. Definitely get yourself one of them. Again, if you want to go cheap, get a cheap one. It'll do the job. Might struggle when we put the timber above the steel, but you know, if you've got an half decent one, you're cracking. Like if you're going to buy a kit, make sure you buy the same one, whether it's Makita, DeWalt or Milwaukee, and then all your batteries are going to fit the same platform, which is what you want. So circular saw, that's the first. Is that the first? No, that's the first power tool, the 9-inch grinder. The second one is the circular saw. Then we've got a combination of a drill and an impact driver, hand tools, chisels, preferably some decent quality ones, not them crap. I don't know where mine have gone. A hammer. I'm going to give this hammer away as well. It's actually a framing hammer, but it's good for this job. The long claw on that splits the joist hangers, which is what you want. A lump hammer, that hasn't come into play yet, but that will do when we put our floor down and our roofing boards as well. Again, an ox one, but I'll talk about them just before we go. Spanners to lock your nuts off. We've got that. It's quite a few pounds. I wouldn't even bother going down that road. Get yourself a couple of them adjustable spanners and you'll probably keep you for the rest of your life as well. They will lock your nuts off. That's what you want. Lock your nuts off. A trowel which we used to smooth off the concrete around the top of the rod, because obviously when you wind your nuts down you don't want lumps of concrete there, so that was used as well. And tape measure. I bought both of these. That one I probably won't use, so that one will stay in that condition until somebody wins it. That one, I've used it today and it's already looking a bit grubby, but a decent tape measure. So that will probably get sent off to you as well, and it might not be in the greatest of condition, but it is what it is. Right, is that everything, David? That's all the tools, isn't it? So far, obviously, glasses. You want some glasses to protect your eyes, some ear defenders, protect your ears, gloves if you want to wear gloves, protect your hands from splinters and calluses and roughness. Right, so that is it. Right, so what else I want to talk about now? All the ox stuff that you see here. Level, level. There's a bag over there for the levels. There's 3 levels. There's a lump hammer, framing hammer, and 2 tape measures. I am going to give that away. All you need to do is get onto my Instagram, follow me on Instagram, share it, tag a mate in it and like it. And what I'm going to do then is somebody who does it every single post that I put on for this build, I'm going to pick a winner and then I'm going to send them off and post them anywhere in the UK. So that's it. That is day 2. Let me see what time it is now. Right, it's 1 o'clock. We're going to get off now. I've obviously got wages to pay and stuff like that when I get home and I edit this video. So rather than get the insulation in today, we're going to leave it at that because it is going to rain and we don't want it all wet when we get back before we put the boards, because we'd have to clean that and blow it off. So we'd have to clean that and blow it off, which is not what we want to do. So we're going to leave that till Monday. So Monday we're going to get the floor down and we're going to start on the walls as well. So if you've liked what you've watched, I'm going to update these. It's the weekend, so there'll be nothing else this weekend now till Monday. I'm going to update them daily and you're going to see this. It's actually bigger than 3x3. It's slightly bigger, and I made it slightly bigger so I can get my doors and windows in. Excuse me, but you're going to see this get built right up to roof on and alt battens in and everything like that. So it'll be built as a structure, and then, you know, if you're going to clad it, the choice of cladding is like endless, so that will be down to you yourself. But that's it. Please like, please subscribe, and please, I'll try and answer comments. Don't always get time, but I'll try and answer comments as well. So like and subscribe, and if you're watching it on Instagram, share it, because you've got a chance of winning this Ox stuff that I have bought myself. They haven't. It's not paid promotion. They've not sent me anything at all. I'm going to send it out to you. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Thanks very much, and I'll see you Monday. Cheers.